What's up? It's it's me. Obviously, decided to I fucking was looking for something. And I actually found something. Well, not even found something. I just thought about something. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make a video on that because it makes sense. But the cover is basically if someone was talking, basically someone was talking to you. Basically, it says them, you're a fool, and then you, okay, and then it says stay with me, caption. Basically saying like read the bottom of it, and it reads this. Who cares what others think? That's the title. And then the description is a fool, a waste of time. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. I'm sure at some point we've all heard these things before from friends, family, and complete strangers. But the question I have for you is why? Why do you care? What they think why do you care what they think? If there's something you're waiting if there's something you're waiting to happen, or if there's someone you're waiting for, who cares what others have to say about it? They probably don't understand because they're not you, or they've never felt the way you have. So why would it matter what they have to say? Why would it matter what they have to say about you? As long as you're not hurting anyone, I say do what you like. Which is very true. Like, so many people care so much about what other people think when it shouldn't, when they shouldn't. They generally shouldn't care what other people have to say about them. Generally. Because it doesn't, it's one of those things where, like, like, I can understand with, like, family, I guess. People care about what their family thinks of them, but I feel like at some point, if your family has never said anything, like, remotely, not encouraging, but just, like, remotely good to about you, or about anyone that like, about anything that you do or anyone that you're with or whatever the case may be, I say, fuck them, you know, like for example, me and everything that's going on with me and whatnot. Like, you know the amount of times people have called me a fool for waiting. How many times I've been called, it's a waste of time to wait. It's a this, that, and the other. Like, like it's one of those things where it's just like it's one of those things that only you would know whatever it is. Because think about it. If you're waiting on something, if you're waiting on something or somebody, no one no one understands whatever it is that you're waiting for. Only only you would understand, not even understand, but only you would know how much, you care about something, or how much you love somebody, or, this, that, and the other, you know? Like, I feel like it doesn't really matter what other people have to say, because no one, basically, no one is you. And I know some people may have done the same things you've done, or whatever, so they have, somewhat experience on whatever it is. But at the end of the day, it's the fact of you might have done the same thing that they have done, but at the same time, you are your own person. So it's the fact of, like, it's the fact of whatever experience you have is your own experience. And it's the fact that it could have been different than theirs. A lot of people have different experiences and different things. I'm not saying that every experience is the same, because they're not. But it's the fact that some experiences people think are different from others. Like, some people think different than other people. Like, some people's mindset is different when it comes to certain things. Like, for example, like with my whole with the whole thing that happened with my relationship, like the her ex, or I guess baby daddy now, is the fact that he just left and that was it. He didn't he didn't really care to get her back. He was more or less trying to make her make her jealous and everything, which I don't know why, but is the fact of like, in the sense we're the same, in the sense of we had the same experience in the sense of losing her, but at the same time he went his route and I'm going my route. His route is basically not caring and, you know, trying to get her back from making her jealous, which I don't know if he's still doing. Probably not, if I'm being genuinely honest, because it's a long time. But at the same time, I don't know. Haven't heard much of him. It's more of a Haven't heard much of him. It's more of a I hear stuff from the through the grapevine. But from what my understanding is he's doing something. That's about it. But that's more or less of my ways. I'm just waiting because something I had said, because a video I had made before, which was why are you the way you are. You don't have to watch the video, of course. You can literally just read the description because it basically comes from that. But it's the fact that my way is simple. It's the fact that I won't be moving on because of how strongly I feel for her. I know it's stupid and I'm a fool, but I know she's the one I can be who I was when I first started dating. And I won't hurt someone else because I know how deep rooted my love for her is. It's the fact that I've been called a fool more times than I can count, if I'm being honest. I've been called a fool. I've been called, oh my god, I've been told it's a waste of time. How you'll get through it if you just get into another relationship. It'll be fine. You'll forget all about her. So on and so forth. You know, it's you're just wasting you're just wasting your you're just wasting your time. Da 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 da. I've heard basically everything and anything at this point in time, and it's like it's one of those things where it's just like I don't really care if I'm being honest. Am I wasting my time? Probably. Does it matter? No. Doesn't matter. At least it doesn't matter to me. It really doesn't. It doesn't matter to me because I know that moving on isn't going to do anything. It's not. It's the fact that if I was to move on and she was to message me, it's the fact of I wouldn't hesitate to go back to her. That's the thing. I want to say I don't want to say I talked about it in that video and everything, but yeah, it's one of those things where I wouldn't. I would basically just be. I'd basically be hoping and waiting for them to come back. And it's the fact that I wouldn't really be. If I found someone else, I wouldn't be with that person mentally. Like I wouldn't be with them at all. It'd basically be more of a. It'd basically be more of I'm trying to fill that hole. I'm trying to fill that hole. With someone else. But it's the fact of no one will ever be able to actually fill that. Simply simply because of how high, just simply because of how high I hold her up and everything. But it's one of those things where ever since the beginning of this, I've been called a fool. I've been called this. I've been called that, and it mattered in the beginning, but slowly it was just like I don't know. Slowly, I just stopped caring about what people had to say. At some point, at some point, no one's words mattered other than hers, and I feel like that's how it should be. I feel that's how it should be. It should be like that. I feel like it should be like that. I feel like regardless on regardless on what anyone says, I don't think that there should be. I don't think you should genuinely care what other people have to say, unless they have like genuine evidence on whatever it is they're talking about. I don't think it's even worth even like giving the light of day. Just because it's a lot of things, but I don't really understand why people really care for what other people have to say about them. You know, I never under, it's something I never really understood. Just because it's just like why, generally, why is like mainly from like friends or complete strangers. Family I can kind of understand, but from friends and complete strangers, I don't really see why whatever they have to say should mean anything to you. It generally shouldn't, if I'm being honest. It's one of those things where it's just like you just don't, just just simply just don't. Really, like that's there's nothing much else to really say about it. It's just that it just don't like it just doesn't mean anything, especially from complete strangers as well. Like complete strangers, that's insane to me. Like why would you care what some random person like off the street or a customer that's at work or something like that, you know, or coworkers or something like that. Like why care what they have to say about anything? Because it's just like if it's just a completely random person and you're not like at like if you don't work at like fast food or somewhere in retail, then why does it matter? You're probably gonna see them like a handful of times and then you'll never see them again. So it's just like why would it matter what they had to say? I feel like as long as if there's something that you feel strongly about, then it shouldn't really matter. Because even if you don't care what anyone says and it's just like that man or woman, that's the only thing you care about is them, and then they say something like I don't know like I don't know it'll like we'll never I don't know say something like we'll never get back together. We'll never talk again. Whatever the case may be. I don't really know if I'm being honest. But it's the fact of like, even if someone was to say that, if like depending on how strongly you care for that person, how much you love that person, like it shouldn't like jolt you or anything. Like it's the fact that like when it comes to me, like I'm not you know going to give up at all. Just the fact that she could message me, call me, say basically whatever, but it's the fact that like it won't matter. Like I hear what she's saying, obviously, but it's the fact of it won't matter because I know how strongly, like how deep rooted and strongly I felt for her. So it's the fact of moving on wouldn't be moving on wouldn't be a good idea. Not even for like a year or something, but just in general, because of the fact that I would just be looking for her in everyone. You know, I would be trying to change like someone to be more like her, which isn't fair. It's not fair to them. I would say it's not fair to me, but then again, that's not how that works. It's just not fair to them, you know. And you see a bunch of videos where people are just like, you have to be fully healed and whatnot, but it's the fact that I don't believe that you ever will be fully healed of something. If I'm being genuinely honest, depending on how it impacted you, I feel like at some point people think that, oh, they're fully healed, but it's not much they're fully healed. It's more or less they're kind of just not used to it, but it's more of the fact that they kind of just deal with it. Like it's not as like strong as it was before, so they kind of just brush it off. Was the fact that that hurt or that love or whatever the case is still there for that person, but it's the fact that the person kind of just pushes it down. That's why when people that's when people are like suffer like a near death experience or they're about to pass on, is the fact of all of those like feelings for somebody or something, that that's why all of those kind of just come up, because it's just like it's the fact that they come up, and it's more of a like they feel sad about not giving it another shot, not doing this, not doing that, simply because they figured they were fully healed from that person. But it's the fact that it's not that they were fully healed, it was more of the fact that they were just kind of like their mind kind of just basically was like timed out. It was just like, all right, we're just gonna put this file this somewhere, and that's pretty much it. Because I feel like the hurt will always be there, and it's the fact that for me, I know that it will always be there. So it's the fact that I might not even, if I get with, it could be like 5 years, like 5 years from now, I could find, I could decide I want to, talk to someone else, and it's the fact of like subconsciously not knowing, if I found someone else, I could be trying to change that person without even, without really even realizing it. It's just one of those things where I feel like it's more of a mind thing. It's more of a like a, it's more of a like not dedication. It's more of a like how strongly do you feel about whatever it is, about something, about someone, you know. But yeah, I just went completely off track again. God damn it. But let's get back on track. Goodness. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really understand why people really like care what other people have to say about anything. Just simply because, like, why would it matter? Because it's the fact that if you can find in some whatever you're going through, if you can find like a common ground where you're just happy, then I say who cares? As long as you're happy and you're not, and you can be sad from time to time, of course, but as long as you're not, just sad all the time and always overthinking like, oh, this person said this person said that, you know? I feel like as long as you're happy, it shouldn't really matter what anyone has to say. Because half the time, most people say something because they themselves aren't happy, or depending on what it is, they were also in that same situation and they weren't happy. So it's the fact that they want you to feel the same way they felt, and when they want you to do the same thing that they did, and everything. So I don't know. It's one of those things where it's just why does it matter? As long as you're not. The only thing I really say about it is as long as you're not hurting somebody in the process of doing whatever it is you're doing. And I say do whatever it is that you want to do. As long as you're not hurting anybody, I say go for it. Literally, either go for it or just basically do what you want to do. As long as it doesn't hurt anybody, and as long as you're happy or somewhat happy, then who's the who gets to dictate what you feel and do not feel, you know? But yeah, that's pretty much that whole thing. I'll probably have another one after this. Probably have a couple, if I'm being honest. I have a couple more ideas of like how I want to do these. But yeah, definitely stay tuned. And one other thing for these, if you want to like get notified of these, I'm sure you already know about that whole thing as well. But if you're subscribed to me, you can click. There's like a bell icon. Basically, you just kind of tap that, and I don't really know if I haven't tapped the bell in a while when I subscribe to somebody, but I want to say like it gives you like three options or something where you don't get any, or you get them all, or you get like some. I don't know. It's weird. I want to say on like the computer, I want to say like on computer you can just click it and it just does it by itself. But I don't really know. Yeah, like I said, it's been a while, but um, but yeah, click that and you'll get a notification when I do post, or when I do like send a when I post basically. So definitely put that bell on if you don't want to miss out on anything. Still trying to figure out because I want it to be like a certain time that I do these. If I'm being honest, I don't really know what would be a good time. Maybe for weekends it'll be like a lot like sooner, and then during the week it'll be a lot later because of like I have to get off work and everything. Well, since I work and everything, but I don't know. Still trying to figure it out. But at some point I'll come up with some schedule. But yeah, hopefully y'all have a good Sunday and everything. And I will talk to y'all later.